There it is.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Tim Hart, branch manager of VanDyk Mortgage here in Fort Myers, Florida. Welcome to another episode. I got my buddy back with me, Remington Begg, Impulse Creative. Remington, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So, Remington, we did an episode. The last one we did was about marketing, right? Internet marketing for realtors, how to grow their presence online. Got a lot of good feedback from that. So we want to keep that ball rolling. And today we're going to get into social media, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think social media is a big piece that a lot of times people will throw at some high school student, or they'll not really put a lot of thought in. So it'll be fun to riff on this.
Yeah, man, I look forward to getting down to this. And then also I want to remind everyone out there, for one, make sure you like and share this with anyone you know that may be into it or find value in it. Also, if you're not a realtor, this does not mean you're not going to get something from it. Okay,
100%.
Social media, internet marketing, you name it, for businesses. What we're going to talk about today, it will translate to your business, I promise. Okay, but this is just realtor specific, right, Remington?
100%. And yeah, a lot of the things, really just has to do with being human. But when we start talking about specifics, we'll try and pull out as much realtor and broker specific as possible.
Gotcha. Good. All right. So let's get started on, let's just talk about the why first with social media. And I mean, we covered internet marketing on the last one, why they need to have website and web presence. But, let's start off with the basics of why should they be out there in social.
Yeah. So any marketing is trying to figure out, where your customers are and then hanging it out there. So when we're thinking about social media, I think it's like 9 out of 8 or 9 out of 10 people are on Facebook, for instance. And a lot of times people go, oh, well, no one old is on Facebook, but like 60 plus is one of the highest age groups that are joining Facebook right now, so they can see pictures of their grandkids. So when you're thinking about social media, it's really extending the conversations that you usually have day to day, and in a lot of cases that can mean different platforms. So it's really taking that normal conversation that you'd be having one-to-one in like real life with people, and then of course taking that online as well. And that's where social media comes in. Gotcha.
And so like one thing, I've noticed as time went on, we have, all of our platforms, not counting social media, you were just doing more and more tech type transactions and, secure document portal uploads and whatever. And it used to be people in their 60s and 70s couldn't do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But man, we've had, the last year or so, I've noticed they have no problem uploading docs, scanning. I mean, they're very well-versed in tech. I mean, majority of them are getting more well-versed in tech now.
Yeah, I think especially, the iPhone and a lot of these touch devices, like my dad scanning a document now, he takes a picture of it with his phone. Like it's just one of these things that naturally we're becoming more connected. And, going back to this whole grandkid thing, I know like my parents hang out on Facebook and see a lot of what's happening in my family, not just mine, but the rest of my family through social media. And it's a way of keeping up with people. So it's a really great way to foster those relationships. And iPads and iPhones and, Android tablets and all of that is so accessible now. I know a whole bunch of people my age that are giving iPads and these devices to their parents and, and utilizing these things. Like mobile is up like crazy. So it just means that social is more accessible across the board.
Yeah, and FaceTime, man. The grandparents love FaceTime.
100%. 100%. Yep.
So do the kids. All right, let's get into platforms for these realtors here. So I'm a new realtor. I'm ready to get started. Remington Begg, where do I start? Platforms, and let's get rolling. Look at you, you're all greased up, ready to go.
Let's do it.
Right.
So when we're talking platform, the number one thing is to figure out, like what kind of message you have, what kind of things are you bringing across? So Facebook's the 800-pound elephant. It's one where there's going to be a lot of people on there. There's a lot of noise, right? And there's a lot of things going on, but at the same time, everyone's there on the platform. So consistency, making sure that you're out there on Facebook. LinkedIn's great, especially for, people like you, Tim, who want to connect with other business owners. And just about every business owner I know is either looking for a house or looking to like up the next level personally and professionally. So LinkedIn can be a really great way to start fostering and building relationships too.
Are you ranking these right now?
Am I ranking these in regards to what they should be? So Facebook number one.
Okay.
I think LinkedIn would be number two for me in regards
I've noticed a lot of new traffic from LinkedIn, a lot of interaction coming from LinkedIn.
Yep. And LinkedIn's doing, ever since they got acquired by Microsoft I think it's a couple years ago now, they've really been improving the experience and really trying to improve like the overall flow of things. So there's a couple of really cool things about LinkedIn we'll get into a little bit later. Twitter is surprisingly, it gets a lot of reach, and we can get into that more too. And regardless of your political affiliation, I attribute Twitter to Trump being the person that's tweeting and this is the only political area I'm going to get. I know a lot of older people that created Twitter accounts to see what Trump would say, or no matter which way of the aisle they're on. So
it would be a sad day in Twitter's world if Trump stopped.
Yeah, Trump is the reason Twitter still exists. But anyways, so without going too much further than that, the big thing that Twitter has the ability to reach a very diverse audience. And in a lot of cases, you're going to be able to reach people in the younger generation, right? It's called a microblogging platform. So it's short, concise information that you're sharing. And the cool thing about Twitter is it's not being throttled down by the algorithms yet as much as Facebook and LinkedIn is. So we'll get more into that later. And then finally, especially for real estate agents, Instagram is huge. You cannot be a realtor, in my opinion, and not be on Instagram sharing these Insta stories and these photos about who you are and what you're doing. It's just, Instagram is so relational and it's so easy to really get inspired by what people are sharing. So Instagram's a huge one. And then a lot of times the redheaded stepchild is Pinterest. So especially for builders and for, agents that are trying to sell a certain lifestyle. I know my wife is addicted to Pinterest. I think I actually mentioned it on the last session we had where like my wife wants to get married again just so she can use Pinterest to like pin up all the boards. But when people are like searching for a home and stuff like that, they're looking for a lot of really relevant, helpful resources. And so if you're sharing certain ideas and you're sharing information that's similar to certain trends that fit your market, Pinterest can be really, really strong too. But I think if you're on each of those and you've got that consistent message, that can be a really great place to start.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've always told other realtors I know is that the big difference between my business and theirs when it comes to marketing on social is people are naturally interested in what they see and do with the homes, the pools, the land, the house, the remodel, the dumps, the hoarder house. Like people love real estate and food, like really plays on social.
Yeah, 100%. And I forgot one more, which is YouTube. I think a lot of people don't think about YouTube as a social network, but based on our conversation we had just before we jumped on, like YouTube can be a really strong competitor too, because it is the number 2 search engine, against Google. But when you look at people who are searching things on YouTube, it's a very different intent. So we'll get to that too.
YouTube is the number 2 search platform behind Google. Like it beats Bing Google and I didn't.
Yeah. So when you think of what people are searching on YouTube, Google's now actually bringing in those YouTube results, especially on mobile. So YouTube is strong from a conversation standpoint. People are going to like and comment and have conversations around your videos, as well as showing up in search results. So YouTube, the bonus, we'll say.
All right, I got you. So it sounds like Facebook and Instagram would be the 2 biggest plays for realtor, and then you get into LinkedIn, then YouTube, Twitter.
I think if you're like, I don't have any time to do the social stuff, I think that if you jumped on the Facebook and Instagram bandwagon, that would be a really great place to start. And then if you are interested in people who are not retired necessarily, but people who are, in the professionals or you're like young families, LinkedIn would be a really great place to be rolling as well, depending on your target market.
Okay. So let's get into then, and I don't know how you want to, if you want to split this up, like, because every platform is different. We know that, but best practices. I'd like to
Sure.
get you talking about best practices for realtors. You can do it via platform or just overall, however you want to break it up.
Yeah. So we'll do some general stuff in the first place. So always be helping, right? So relevant, helpful, inspiring information. I know there's a lot of people out there that'll put some inspiring quotes, or like, if you want to be an expert in your community, share stuff about your community. There's a couple of real estate agents that we're both connected to that do a really great job there. You're trying to inspire and get people to move to your neighborhood essentially as a real estate agent. So you got to share what's going on, like show the human side of things. So when you're thinking about content, what you need to think about is bringing down the wall. We talked about this a little bit on the last session. Like, show your face, like you're a human, like show yourself enjoying stuff enjoying different destinations with your family, take selfies, check in, like show what's going on. Photos in general are going to be really, really well received. And then of course you can get into videos and stuff like that too, but video we'll dig into in a different session. But when we're talking about content in general, the first thing is like, hey, I'm going to be at this open house. Come talk to me today because this house is the absolute awesome house. And then the next weekend they have another open house and they say the exact same thing, right? What we want to do is make sure that 80% of the content we're sharing across any of these social networks is not promotional, right? Relevant, helpful, inspiring. So if you're thinking about like show a nice shot of a sunset on, of going over Sanibel, or show how much the water's cleared up, based on all the red tide stuff that we had going on. Show stuff that's going on in the community that is inspiring to others and giving a reason why they'd want to move there. The other 20% of that content can be promotional content. This can be, hey, I'm at this open house, or it can be, hey, check out this blog article. But what we want to do is we want to make sure people don't feel like we're the guy that walks into the room and talks about ourselves all the time, right? Yeah. So think about like a networking event. You walk in and everyone knows that guy in the networking event. He comes in and he just starts, everyone goes, oh, how's everything going? Oh my God, everything's great. I'm the absolute best person in the world. Like you should see, like I just closed this super mega deal, and they're talking left and right about themselves. They're not talking about like all the cool things that happen in the community. You don't want to be that guy. Or
getting to know the person they're talking to.
Yeah. So there's opportunities to foster conversation. There's opportunities to engage and actually have a conversation with other people, right? It's not just about the post that you share on social. It's about the comments. It's about interacting with people. It's about saying happy birthday, Tim, when it's Tim's birthday. It's about going above and beyond and building that relationship. And I'll lead into that before I get into the platforms with a little bit of a story here. So I just got back from about 2 weeks up in Boston, and I've connected the Inbound conference. There's 25,000 marketers that all show up to this conference for a week.
I was following you, man. I saw it.
Yeah. So we're all over the place, right? So we're sharing photos. We're like, check this out, like selfies with people. And we're sharing all this information. And the coolest thing about this, and it's like a confirmation, for the whole team as they're working, is we're having people that know who we are, and we're having conversations, and we're meeting people that we've never met in real life, right? It's a conversation like you and I on a video, or it's a conversation like I know more about this guy, Nick, that works up at HubSpot than a lot of people who are actually friends that aren't on Facebook here, because I know the names of all of his kids. I've seen photos of his kids. I know what he likes to do. I know he really enjoys breweries. He likes craft beer. Like I know all these things about this person that I wouldn't have to ask when I had that first meeting. So imagine being able to build a relationship with your prospective customer and them getting to know you on a personal level without having to have all that awkwardness, right? So I'm up at this conference and my team is doing the same thing. And we're having conversations with people that feel like we've known them for years because we've been connected for years.
Right.
And it allows for you to know, like, and trust someone. And that's really what the name of the game is with social media. How can you get people to know, like, and trust you for the biggest transaction in their lives, right? And so if that's sharing, fishing videos, right? Or it's sharing like information around the community and letting people know, like, and trust you, there's going to be a really great opportunity there. But the number one thing it is not being politically charged. You can't get into politics on social media. And if you do, you should do that in a private group that's like not public, because no matter what side you're on of the aisle, you're going to offend someone on the other side. And it's like a 50-50 split. We saw with the latest election, it was like right down the middle.
49-51, depending on what year.
No matter how you look, no matter which direction you go, you're going to offend 50% of your market. So just be inspiring, be helpful, and be human.
Well, and that political thing, that's something that I learned, and I didn't learn the hard way, but it was years ago. I was kind of that guy that was just posting political stuff. And I ended up just going cold turkey on it because I found myself getting more and more angry.
Yep.
My mood would change. And but then the thing is I noticed like my interactions, like if you're posting politics on Facebook, you're just talking to, you're in an echo chamber. You're talking to people that agree with you. Like you don't know about the other half that like hate your guts now.
Right.
Or they look at you differently.
Yeah. And society as a whole right now jumps to conclusions no matter what.
God.
Right?
Brutal.
So Jeff Bezos just donated like crazy amount of money to helping people in poverty and children.
Like $2 billion, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's getting like crazy railroaded on social media and anyone that shares that. And it's like, seriously? But when you're thinking about that as a real estate agent, you could have, and I know people that have not hired someone or like have broken relationships from someone professionally based on their views of them as a real human being. And so if you're on social media and you want to be uber political about something or uber left or right about any situation, you have to understand those consequences. And I'm not saying don't do it. You just have to know what you're signing up for.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like free country, do whatever you want. Just know that people are watching and man, how many people out there, like if you're a realtor or even for me or you, like they're like, well, I may work with them. Let me do my homework. And then they pull you up on social, like before you hire anyone, like we go right to Facebook. Do you? Like,
yeah, every time.
Type the name in the Facebook. There they are. Let's look at their post. Oh boy, let's move on from this one. And they're doing it to us with business. Our customers are as well.
Absolutely. If they're an asshole online, excuse my French, they're going to be an asshole. They're going to be an asshole in real life. Like they just are. And if they aren't, then they're trolls, and that's a whole nother problem.
Right.
So, all right. So that's like general content. So happy, inspiring, like you're going to attract what you put out. And so if you're putting out relevant, helpful, useful information, you're going to get people that know, like, and trust you in return. And then the other side of things is, we mentioned Facebook, but we didn't mention Messenger. I get probably 50% of my leads that come in as referrals to me through Facebook and Facebook Messenger, right? Like, hey, Tim told me that you do really great websites and he gave me your Messenger link, or, it's through social media. So social media really can act as that accelerator for that normal conversation. And if you're doing it consistently and helpful, it can be really huge. All right. So now we'll get into some best practices for platform. You ready?
Yeah.
Cool. So regardless of platform, what you have to figure out is some kind of a publishing schedule. So you've got to keep it up and keep things moving. Now, a lot of times people get super stuck on like, they don't want to offend people. They don't want too many posts on their page or on their profile. But when's the last time that you went to someone's page to look at everything that they shared, right? Most of it, I'd say 80% of the time, the posts that you share are seen in the news feed. So I want you to think about that before I start talking about how many posts you should be posting. So if you're posting 12 social posts per blog post, for instance, which is about what we do on average for our clients, and we're just following that 80-20 rule, what we're saying is you should be posting another 30 to 40 posts that are inspiring, helpful, and what we call not link posts, right? They're not helping you. They're just telling people about your thoughts. So it could be pictures of inspiring images. It could be check out this fish. It could be a really cool picture of like people love cat videos, but like, oh, look at my pet. Isn't he cute? Or check out my child. Or it could be a baseball game. People are going to be, you're going to get more likes on that baseball game shot because people all of a sudden are like, oh, Tim's kids like baseball. That's badass. Rather than, hey, check out my blog. I know about mortgages, right? Like people are going to relate to you. And that's why referrals happen, you know, when you're having those functions with your kids, because you're connecting with people on things that are similar. So going back to the post frequency. So I think that you could be posting 6 to 7 times a day on Facebook. And as long as 80% of that is not promotional, right? So if you're sharing tips, if you're sharing quotes, if you're sharing like just things to look out for, or you're saying happy birthday, Tim, or you're saying, you know, those things can be consistently there, and it doesn't have to take all day. I know a lot of people that will spend 15 minutes in the morning and they'll pepper off a couple posts and schedule them throughout the day on Facebook, and then they'll jump over to LinkedIn and they'll do some interactions. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but it means that everyone sees them peppered out throughout the day. The other thing is on Facebook specifically, you can be posting information and not interacting in any other way, and no one's going to see it because Facebook is going to throttle back your posts if you're just self-promotional. So whether it's a page or a profile, profiles, of course, is like you can friend people and it's like mutual interaction, where a page is only up to the prospect, right? So if you are interacting with people and you're having comments and you're having conversation, every time they like, comment, or share your posts, it's essentially giving you a brownie point in regards to how often you should show up in their posts. So if you want to start seeing people, or you'll notice this with your friends, like some people that haven't been on in a while that you haven't interacted with, they'll suddenly just start not showing up. If you go through and start liking their posts and interacting with their content and vice versa, it'll start showing up. So a lot of times you can say, like this post if you enjoy sunsets like this. And those kinds of things are going to start bringing you up more often for those people because they're engaging in your content. Make sense? So that's Facebook.
Well, yeah, I've noticed it for a while with my my business page posts. I get it; they're there to make money, and they want you to boost it or do ads or whatever. It takes a lot to get it out in front of people now.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is like a lot of times we'll just throw the money at it because it's easier. But if we have some kind of a call to action to, the news was doing this for a while, and sometimes Facebook will catch up to this. But like they'll be like, give us a smiley face if you agree. Give us a thumbs up if you disagree. And what they're doing is they're trying to game the system, right? Just like search engine optimization, they're trying to social media optimization show up in the feed more often.
Is there a good time or best time to post? Like, Sunday at 4 is the time to avoid, or like when should you post and when should you not? If you only had a few select choices.
So I would pay a lot of attention to when my audience starts showing up online. So if you're B2B, B2B business to business, then during the weekday might be good. It might actually be better to hit CEOs on Facebook around 8 or 9 o'clock when they're done with their day, right? Where for real estate agents, it's going to be something you're going to start to learn what kind of engagement you get based on the times. And the cool thing about all these social platforms is you can look at this analytics and you can be like, oh, all my posts at around 8 p.m. are getting more engagement than my posts at 6 a.m. What's going on? So I would say everyone's really got to test it to kind of see what the message is. But the number one thing, if I say everyone should post at 9 a.m., means everyone's going to post at 9 a.m. And then no one's content is going to be seen at 9 a.m. because everyone's posting at the same time. So really just kind of dial it in and just be consistent and start measuring to see what kind of results you get. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So that's Facebook. With Twitter, we're talking about 5 or 6 a day. With Twitter, you could be doing 100 a day, and I don't think you'd piss anyone off, right? Because as you're posting these, the life of that tweet is significantly less versus the life of a Facebook post, because the amount of content that's going through and it's all just in the feed, people aren't really going to engage with that very much. On Twitter, hashtags are very important, and a lot of times hashtags are a mystery. And this past weekend, we were having a conversation in a sales workshop up in Nantucket, and we're like hashtag nerd. If you just say hashtag nerd, if you need us to explain things, and they're like hashtag nerd, what is a hashtag? But a hashtag is like the old school pound sign on the phone, right? And essentially you could put like a word in there that describes what the content is about. So don't do like 14 hashtags. You could do like 2 or 3 if you want. But like, for instance, hashtag SWFL. If you look at news press or something like that, everyone who's doing local-based content is going to be around Southwest Florida. So SWFL is going to come up. If it's around Cape Coral, hashtag Cape Coral, you're going to see Cape Coral information kind of show up if you're looking at filters. They do work on Facebook as well, but Facebook tends to not like hashtags as much as Twitter does. So it really just depends on how your content is being consumed.
And, and then Instagram has your suggestions. Same with LinkedIn. Yep. I love Instagram with those hashtags, man. It tells you what to choose because they give you the amounts.
Yeah, it tells you how many people have posts on there. And so there's a lot of big opportunities there. And the cool thing about Facebook and Instagram, so thanks for the segue, Instagram has stories. So the difference, and so does Facebook, the stories are messages that are only available for 24 hours. So it's usually vertical type video or vertical type posts, and Facebook has the same thing. If you post a Facebook post, like a normal status update, that's available forever. But a story is only available for 24 hours. So you can be doing those all day, and it comes through from the person as just one instance, right? It's just it's like one chapter, and then it's like all the different things. So you could see what someone ate for dinner. You could see what they ate for dessert. And then you could see like how much they were partying at the end of the day on a Friday night. There's a lot of different things you could see there, but you get to understand who they are as an individual, where the posts are a little bit more formal and of course last longer.
So with stories, I'll be honest. I haven't done one. I don't even look at them. And so like, does it work? I mean, is that something that a lot of people look at?
Younger audiences. So I'm going to do one right now.
Do it.
Hang on. This is going to be Inception.
Inception.
Yeah, hang on.
What's that going to do? All right.
We're doing a story right now on Facebook about social media, and this is Tim Hart right here.
What's up, guys?
All right. So now I sound like a crazy person. So literally I can just post this to my story, or I can post it to my newsfeed. So I'm just going to go ahead and share it right now.
That's Facebook. Okay.
That's a Facebook story. It worked the same way on Instagram too, but they are 2 different feeds. And so you could share different stuff. And so that'll last for 24 hours, right? So it could be like, hey, come check me out. Or you could highlight that we're doing a webinar right now and to make sure you subscribe to sign up for it later. There's a lot of different ways to be bringing all that content together. But going back to the hashtags, you can use hashtags in stories on Instagram and also tag locations. So if you're at a ball game or something, you can see everyone else's story that is at that ball game. So it could be a great way to tie in and have conversations with other people and connect with other people who have similar likes, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
All right. LinkedIn hashtags, postings frequency is, I would say, very similar to Facebook. And, you probably want to be in around the 6 range. It is much more business to business, but that being said, being a human stands out more, right? So everyone's super promotional in there in a lot of cases. And so putting out those inspiring quotes and video is super huge, which I know we'll get into on another session, but video on LinkedIn, using the LinkedIn app can be amazing. And just videos like this, like we're just having a conversation, can be received really well. And you got to know that your audience is mostly going to be professionals on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of opportunities there. One of my favorite things about LinkedIn is you can see the actual analytics of the types of people and where they're located. So when I say types of people, how many CEOs watched this video that I just shared, or how many salespeople in Southwest Florida viewed this? Like, you get some crazy analytics on a post-by-post basis, which can be a really good, nice little dopamine hit for trying to figure out whether your content's reaching the right audience.
I didn't know that. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, look at the analytics. It's usually like 539 views or whatever you get on the individual post. If you click that, it'll pop up and it'll show you some really cool info. Okay. The number one thing I hate on LinkedIn is you want to create all your connections, right? You want to build your audience. Do not be the person that says you connect with a real estate agent or a person who could be a great prospect for buying a home, and right after connecting with them, you say, "Hey, thanks so much. I'd love to buy or sell your home for you." That's like walking into Walmart, and when the person says, "How can they help you?" saying, "Hey, why don't you buy this lipstick right now? And you're like, no, I don't want that. Right? Like you don't know me. Why do I use lipstick? So it's this conversation.
But I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, you might take it, but if they want you to buy it, right? Like, come on now. So it's building that relationship, prove that you know, like, and that they can know, like, and trust you, and foster that relationship. Don't just like spray and pray, in regards to content. So that's LinkedIn. And then with Pinterest, a lot to your blog. So they should go back and listen to the other episode we did on website and blogging. But like that content, those properties, like the information that you're sharing that's inspiring from a visual point of view, you might have the best house in the world. Share that on Pinterest, and you'll be very interested to see how much traffic that can generate, because someone really likes that dining table, or someone really likes how this shower set up. It can be a really great segue into some great relationships and conversations with clients too.
What about YouTube?
YouTube, yes. Thank you for not letting me forget YouTube. So with YouTube, you're going to be sharing, you can be sharing videos on Facebook. You can be sharing videos, doing videos like this, doing tours for homes. You've got the ability to embed YouTube videos on your website if you want, but you've also got the ability to really think from a search engine optimization standpoint, because YouTube's the number 2 search engine, like what people are searching for. So if you're talking about waterfront homes, right? And if we have waterfront homes and we're like, I'm going to do reasons why Cape Coral is the number 1 place for waterfront homes. And so if you go around and you put together a video about waterfront homes and like your review of certain areas, you could share that on YouTube, and it's going to show up in Google search. And at the same time, you could share that on any of the social networks we just mentioned. So it can drive some really great traffic. And the cool thing about YouTube is if you put that video together, the more people you send to it all at once, the more viral it is in YouTube's eyes, which will bring it up in rank. So there's a lot of cool tools for that.
The more, let me hear that again. So the more that you share a YouTube video, the more popular it gets?
Yeah. So basically, everyone goes after views, right? But if you have 100 views over a month, and then you have 100 views over a day, the 100 views over a day is going to give that video more stature than it would the 100 videos over a month, because YouTube's looking at that as, wow, there's a whole bunch of people liking this content and engaging with this content. And they're like, oh, this must be really quality content, where it's, just a little bit over a month. Now, neither of those are bad, but when we're talking about, as Google looks at indicators of looking at quality of content, it's going to be, significantly higher. So when you publish a YouTube video, send it out to your email list, tell people to like it and give it a thumbs up or subscribe to your video. And you're going to see those videos, just like the other social networks, will start showing up for them more often. And this can work really good for what we would call micro content, like shorter pieces of content that people are super engaged in.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else on the platforms?
No, I think we're good. I could go on forever.
Yeah, no, you did. That was good, man. So like, let's get into real quick, just what else, and we'll get this wrapped up. Like what else they can do on social. I mean, you see people start groups, you see that out there, building a certain community or maybe a group around whatever their hobbies are. What are some other things maybe that realtors can take away besides just posting and interacting with people that they already know, or, give me some outside the box ideas.
Sure. So groups are great. Facebook groups specifically have been out there for a long time. So there's probably a group for just about anything that you could possibly do. A lot of times the people who moderate those don't want it to be spammy. And in many cases, you might find other real estate agents that are the actual owners of the group. So there's a lot of ways to be relevant, helpful, and useful in these groups without being promotional that just automatically tie into people trusting you. So regardless of whether you're the owner of the group, which can be really great if there's something unique, or if you're engaging in these groups and you're actually just answering questions, it can really help for you to show up in front of people and do more. So I'll give an example. I've got a agency group that I'm a part of. There's, I think, about 2,000 people in the group. And while I was up at that event, everyone is like, you must have a neural implant in your head because you answer questions within a minute of them being answered. You answer questions within a minute of them being asked. And I do that because I want people to know, like, first off, I want to help people, right? And I want to answer the questions. And number two is every single time that I help someone, 30 other people see my face right next to that with the answer. And they're like, wow. And I'm hoping they say, oh, wow, Remington's a pretty smart guy, right? So if every single time I'm in that group and I'm always the guy that's super helpful and inspiring, they're going to be like, wow, Remington's really cool. And taking that to real life at this event, it happened all the time. So it goes no different for real estate, especially if you're the guy that's out networking or the gal that's out networking. Participate in the communication. Don't be a troll, but participate in the communication, and groups can be really, really valuable. And it goes to show, like, if you and I were sharing, in a group and we're communicating, if we become friends and you want to like engage with me outside of the group, now suddenly you're going to start seeing me show up in your feed because we're sharing certain interests that Facebook never would have known before. So everyone loves the local area. Everyone loves, sharing things about local events that are going on. There's no reason why you can't find a group and share what's in your brain.
Yeah, and just jump in and start communicating with them.
100%. Just remember, communication, it's a two-way street, right? So you've got to be sharing as much information as you're also, helping people out with. So if you see people asking questions and you know the answer, go ahead and share it. Be relevant and helpful. And you'll find that after a while of having that consistency, you're going to get more reach, and you're really going to start seeing some other indicators of success, like traffic to your website and people reaching out and giving you referrals and that kind of thing.
Got it. What about going live?
Good question. So people tend to get super scared because live is live, right? So it's like, oh, I got to do my makeup. I know I say that all the time. Like, I got to do my makeup before I get on. But when we're talking about going live, there's a certain authenticity, because every time someone sees live, when you're on the, you could be just sharing an insight or something on the actual phone. People are going to go, wow, like they know their stuff. That wasn't rehearsed. And at the same time, you're sharing information that's really great. The one thing I would warn people on, and I saw this twice in the past, just today, is people are doing lives of like the tours walking around an empty house. So houses have a lot of echoes when there's no furniture in them. So if you're doing a selfie video that's a Facebook Live and you're giving people a tour of a house, invest the money and get a good microphone that can be attached to your lapel or can be plugged into your phone so that you get good audio, because nothing is worse than hearing the echoes throughout the entire house while you're talking, right?
Good advice.
And we can't hear that. We can't hear that when we're the ones saying it. But if you were to listen to that Facebook Live, you would be like, good Lord.
Right.
How annoying is that? So make sure you got good audio if you're going to do live. But just, again, consistency. Start sharing relevant, helpful info. And the lives get a lot of reach too.
I was just going to ask you, like, that's like me posting this video will get nowhere near the reach as if we just went live, correct?
Yeah, 100%. So Facebook loves
We're going
their
live next time, bro.
Let's do it.
We're going live.
It's easier. You don't have to post edit either. Make it happen.
Good. We don't edit this anyways, man.
Right.
There is no edits that go on any of these videos. It's just straight up whatever it is, it is.
I'm game. We should do this live next time. But well, actually, that'll be perfect. It's super meta too. We'll do the video session live on Facebook.
Ooh, you're smart.
There we go. But yeah, so Facebook likes to promote their own stuff. So if you are posting a live video, that is going to get significantly more reach than a video you uploaded. If you upload a video on Facebook and you share that same video as a good Lord, as a YouTube link, right? That YouTube link that would play the video is going to get significantly less traction than the uploaded video that's native on Facebook, because Facebook doesn't want to send you to another platform. Facebook wants to keep you there. So as Facebook is putting more emphasis in groups and in video and these other areas that are on its property, those are always going to get more exposure than something that's going off platform.
Gotcha. You got anything else?
Not for today. I think we're good.
That was a lot of content. Good luck digesting that, Realtor.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, hit up Tim or I. Happy to keep the conversation going. And I want to put out a potential prize to anyone that listens to this. And we can't pipe this We can't pitch this to people in text. But if anyone listens to this and wants to know something specifically about video, and they ask the question before we do the publish, I might have a prize for them afterwards. But this is going to be that little present that's at the end of the video they have to listen to.
All right. And they have to ask you. So how do they ask you? How can everyone out there connect with you?
Yeah, that's great. So they can hit me up on Messenger. And if you type in facebook.com/Remington Begg, RemingtonBegg, you'll get to my profile. Hit me up on Messenger and be like, I heard your video about social media, and then tell me what the question you want answered about video, and we will make the prize happen. I'm only going to give one of these prizes away. It's a mystery. Limited
edition. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Remington, dude, I appreciate it. You absolutely crushed it. I hope any realtor out there that's watching this finds value in it. I know they will. If you guys are watching this, you want to know more, reach out to Remington. He's right here in Fort Myers along with myself. So the next one coming up, we're going to do it on video, and Remington said he's going to go live with it. So that's going to be fun too. So guys, appreciate you watching. Remington, anything else, buddy?
No, that's it. I hope everyone gets out and starts doing social and be a happy, helpful human.
Yeah. Start interacting and providing value to your community, guys, and you'll have success on social. I learned a lot today. I hope you did too. Remington, thanks again. You guys Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Look us up. Tim Hart Jr. I'm all over the place. Also, don't forget the podcast, the Heartbeat Show podcast. I'd appreciate you guys subscribing to that as well. So, guys, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye, Remington.